The year was 1836, when Edmund Carroway first set foot upon the jagged coast of Caelwich. His boots sank into the sodden earth, and the roar of the sea echoed like the bellow of a restless giant. Ahead, rising against the bruised sky, loomed the grim silhouette of Blackspire Tower. It was a relic of darker times, a solitary fang of stone jutting from the cliffside, scarred by centuries of storms. The villagers of Caelwich called it cursed, whispering in hushed tones whenever its shadow fell upon the village green. They told tales of a guardian beast, winged, fire-breathed, never truly slain, that had haunted the coast since the Uncate. Middle Ages. Edmund, however, was not a man swayed by superstition. A scholar of forgotten lore, he had spent years in the libraries of London, poring over manuscripts others dismissed as fables. One, in particular, spoke of a relic sealed within Blackspire Tower, a crown wrought in ages past, capable of binding beasts of sky and shadow. The final page of the manuscript was scorched, as if someone had tried to erase its truth. Yet that fragment was enough to drive him here. The wind tore at his cloak, lashing it about his legs as he approached the shore. He tightened his grip on the satchel slung across his chest, within which rested a lantern, journals, and a dagger far too short to be of real use against the beast villagers swore still prowled the skies. As he drew nearer, he saw the tower's windows, narrow slits, staring like hollow eyes at the sea. One gaping arch at the midsection yawned like a mouth frozen in silent warning. It was less a ruin and more a sentinel, watching the centuries pass. A fisherman had tried to dissuade him earlier that morning, clutching Edmund's arm with a grip rough as rope. "Turn back, sir," the man had rasped. "Every 100 years. It stirs. Last it came, my grandfather's brother was taken in flame. We know the signs. The storm, the wings above the clouds, you'll not return." But Edmund had only nodded, pressing a coin into the fisherman's palm. His path was chosen. The past was calling, and he would not flee. Now, standing upon the rocks as the waves dashed white at his boots, he looked up at Blackspire Tower. The storm gathered thick above its crown, thunder murmuring in the distance. He drew his cloak tighter and stepped forward. Whatever truth lay hidden within those stones, he would uncover it, even if it cost him his life. Edmund's lantern cast a thin glow upon the cracked stones as he passed beneath the jagged archway. The tower smelled of brine and dust, its silence broken only by the drip of water through unseen cracks. The entry hall sprawled wide, though. Much of it lay in ruin. Great slabs of stone had fallen from the ceiling, forming jagged heaps. Amid them, Edmund found traces of the past, rusted armor, the splintered haft of a spear, and faded banners embroidered with sigils he half recognized from medieval texts. They bore the mark of a serpent twined around a star. Ascending the spiral stair, Edmund ran his fingers along the walls. Carvings emerged from the gloom. Dragons etched in curling lines, men kneeling before winged beasts. The artistry was crude, but the message clear. This place had not been a fortress of defense, but of worship. In a chamber higher up, he discovered what he sought, a chest of rotting wood, lid long broken. Within lay a collection of brittle pages, journals of Sir Alaric Greystone, knight of the 14th century. Edmund carefully lifted one, its ink faded but still legible. "We bound it with the crown, though not even iron chains can hold its fury. The pact was made in blood, that our line might be spared its wrath. Yet each century it stirs anew, seeking its freedom." Edmund's pulse quickened. The villagers' tales were no invention. A pact had been struck, a relic forged, and a creature enslaved. But worse, the words hinted that the beast was never meant to remain bound forever. He turned another page, noting the scrawl, grew desperate toward the end. "If one should come after us, let them beware. A crown is both gift and curse. Power over the beast comes not without cost. A sudden sound tore him from his thoughts, the heavy rush of wings, muffled through stone, circling above. The tower. His lantern flickered as if in fear. Edmund set the journal into his satchel and pressed on. Deeper within, he stumbled upon a sealed iron door, its surface black with age. Strange runes crawled across it, their shapes unfamiliar yet, resonant with an older pre-Christian tongue. At its center, a lock of intricate design waited, the shape of its key unmistakably jagged, like a dragon's fang. Edmund leaned closer. He had seen illustrations of such keys in the manuscripts. The villagers' warnings echoed in his mind. Somewhere beyond this door lay the crown, and perhaps the creature itself. The sound of wings returned, louder now, followed by a faint rumble that might have been thunder, or something far more alive. Edmund's jaw set. The key must lie nearby, hidden where the knights had last battled. He turned back toward the cliffs, lantern raised, knowing the storm outside would not welcome him kindly. The sea was a fury of foam and crashing waves as Edmund scoured the cliffs. Rain lashed against his hood, and the lantern's flame sputtered in protest. He clambered over jagged rock, searching for signs of what the knights had left behind on it. Was there, in a hollow cleft of stone, that he found the remains? A skeleton half buried in seaweed and salt, armor corroded to little more than flakes. Clutched in its bony grasp lay an object that gleamed even in the storm's gloom. An iron key, jagged and black, its teeth fashioned like a dragon's maw. Edmund pried it free with reverence. But no sooner had he tucked it into his cloak than a terrible sound tore the sky. A screech, ancient, guttural, alive. He looked up. From the thunderclouds descended a vast shadow, wings unfurling like sails upon a ship. Scales glistened faintly, reflecting the lightning that split the heavens. The guardian was no myth. A dragon, lean and terrible, circled above the cliffs, its eyes burning like twin embers. Edmund threw himself against the rocks as the beast swooped, wind from its wings nearly casting him into the sea. He scrambled for cover, heart hammering as flames seared the air where he had stood moments before. The creature's roar shook the very cliffs, and the storm raged with renewed fury. Crawling, slipping, he forced himself back toward the tower, each breath ragged. The dragon wheeled above, but for reasons Edmund could not fathom, it did not strike him down. Instead, it landed upon the tower's crown, wings folding, its gaze fixed upon him. Like a sentinel, it waited. Drenched and shivering, Edmund staggered inside the ruins once more, clutching the iron key. The meaning became clear. The guardian was bound to the tower, its purpose not to hunt, but to ensure the relic within remained sealed. Still, he felt no safer. Its eyes had followed him with hunger, as though it yearned for release or blood. Edmund paused at the base of the spiral stair, rainwater dripping from his cloak. The key weighed heavy in his hand. He thought of the journals, the warnings, of a curse that came with dominion. What power could tempt men to chain such a beast? And what folly might he commit in seeking it? Yet his path was written. He began the climb, every step echoing against the stones, the dragon's roar still. Reverberating in his ears, down at the summit of the stairs, the sealed door awaited. Beyond it lay either salvation or his ruin. The iron key slid into the lock with a groan, turning as though resisting its own purpose. Runes flickered faintly, then stilled. With a shudder, the great door yielded, revealing a chamber untouched by centuries. Within, upon a pedestal of black stone, rested a chest bound in gold. Edmund's hands trembled as he lifted the lid. There, gleaming as though freshly wrought, lay the object of his search, the crown of dominion. Its circlet was of dark iron, set with a single ruby that pulsed faintly, as if with a heartbeat. Air thrummed with power. Above, the dragon shrieked, wings battering the storm. The tower quaked as stones rained down from the ceiling. Time was running short. Edmund lifted the crown. It was heavier than expected, and as he held it, visions pressed against his mind. Knights kneeling in terror, flames consuming villages, men wielding the crown to command the beast, only to be devoured by the very power they sought to control. Roar split the chamber as the dragon forced its head through the broken wall, eyes blazing. Its maw opened, revealing a furnace within. Edmund's choice stood clear before him. Take the crown and wield its power, or destroy it and end the curse. Driven by desperation, he placed the crown upon his head. For a fleeting moment, the dragon halted, its gaze locked with his. Power surged through Edmund like fire in his veins. He raised a trembling hand, and the creature obeyed, lowering its head in submission. Triumph coursed through him. But then, pain. The ruby flared, searing his thoughts. Whispers clawed at his mind, voices of all who had worn the crown before him. The dragon's eyes flared not with obedience, but with mockery. Its will pressed against his own, straining the fragile leash. Edmund realized the truth. The crown bound master to beast, but never as master alone. It was a pact, a chain both ways. With a cry, he tore the crown from his brow. Staggering to the window, he hurled it into the raging sea below. The dragon screamed, a sound of fury and despair. Its wings thrashed as its form crumbled, scales scattering. Like ash upon the storm, the tower shook violently. Yet as the beast dissolved into nothingness, silence fell. The storm passed. Dawn light broke upon the horizon, painting the sea in silver. Exhausted, Edmund leaned against the crumbling wall, his body battered, but his spirit unbroken. He had not claimed power, but he had ended a curse older than memory. When he descended the tower hours later, the villagers would see only a weary man, not the savior of their coast. Yet as he walked away, the sea calm at last. He knew Blackspire's shadow was broken. The tower still stood, silent and lifeless against the sky. But its watch was ended. Asterisk.